Have you ever put off a phone call so long that picking up the phone became genuinely terrifying? Did the waiting ever make it easier? It never does. But the reason why is actually stranger than just laziness. Together we are going to dive deeper into the psychological research behind avoidance. Welcome back to PenguinAcademy. Avoidance is the most reasonable feeling mistake your brain makes. Something scares you, a phone call, a bill, or a feeling, so you get away from it and you instantly feel better. Problem solved. So here's the question that the lovely wave of relief does not want you to ask. If dodging it works so well, why does the thing keep getting bigger? Let's go find the monster. Here's the machinery. When you avoid something frightening, the fear drops instantly, and that drop feels amazing. Your brain files it as, avoiding that made me safe, so do it again. That's negative reinforcement, a behavior rewarded by the removal of something unpleasant. And it's one of the strongest teachers your brain has. So every time you dodge the scary thing, you're not just skipping it, you're actively training yourself to be more afraid of it, and to trust the dodge more. Relief today means a bigger monster tomorrow, and it's always on credit. It gets sneakier when the scary thing is inside you, a feeling, a memory, or a worry. Psychologist Stephen Hayes calls trying not to feel a feeling experimental avoidance. And the cruel twist, it backfires. Quick experiment. For the next 10 seconds, do not think about a white bear. How did that go? Daniel Wagner showed that trying to suppress a thought makes it more likely to bounce back. Feelings work the same way. Stop being anxious is an instruction that generates anxiety about you being anxious. You cannot win a wrestling match against your own mind, because every move you make, it makes two. And here's the slight detail that makes suppression so convincing. In the lab, it often works while you're doing it. Grit your teeth and you can really keep the bear out for a few minutes. It's afterwards that it floods back. When researchers pooled these experiments, the rebound was the reliable part, which is exactly the wrong lesson for your brain. Shoving the thought away feels like a win, because for 5 minutes it was one. The bill just arrives later, unlabeled. So how do you actually shrink the monster? You do the terrifying, obvious thing. You stop running and you approach it. Carefully, on purpose, and in small doses. This is the engine behind exposure therapy, and it's one of the most reliably effective treatments in all of psychology, especially for anxiety and phobias. You get near the feared thing and you stay, and you let your alarm system discover firsthand that the catastrophe doesn't come. Now, one important update, because the standard explanation of why that works has changed. The old version quietly sets people up to fail. It used to be taught as habituation. Stay in your room, your fear goes down, and that drop is the treatment. Michelle Craske and her colleagues made a strong case that this isn't quite it. The old fear memory doesn't get deleted. It stays on file, permanently. What exposure builds is a second, competing memory sitting next to it. Like, I was near that thing and the disaster did not come. And the active ingredient isn't calming down, it's expectancy violation. Your brain making a specific prediction out loud and then watching it fail. Two consequences, and they matter more than the theory does. First, you do not have to feel relaxed for this to be working. How anxious you feel at the end turns out to be a poor guide to whether anything stuck. The real question is whether the thing you were certain would happen conspicuously didn't. So, be specific before you go in. Not, this will be awful, but I will freeze and everyone will stare. Vague fears can't be proven wrong. Only precise ones can. Second, because the old fear is still in there, it can come back in a new place, after a long gap, or on a bad week. These pathways are called pathways of renewal, spontaneous recovery, and reinstatement, respectively. That's not a relapse to zero, and it doesn't mean the work was fake. It's one memory beating the other for a round. Then you can go again in the next round. You've met this monster before. The text folder from the procrastination episode, that's avoidance. The scary email, the doctor's appointment you keep rescheduling, the hard conversation you've been waiting for the right time to have, it's all the same mechanism, every time. Short-term relief, long-term compounding dread. This is why I won't call avoidance the cause of all human suffering. That's an overstatement, and we don't do those here. But it is probably the engine that keeps anxiety running. Starve the avoidance and you will starve the fear. So, what actually helps? Not white-knuckling and not just face your fears shouted like a drill sergeant. The evidence-backed version is gentler and smarter. Approach in small doses. Don't leap into the deep end. Take the smallest scary step. Let the alarm settle and then the next. It's a ladder, not a cliff. Predict out loud, then check. Before you do the thing, say exactly what you're afraid will happen. Afterwards, compare. That comparison is where the learning lives, not in how calm you manage to look. Watch for avoidance in disguise. You can show up and still be running. The drink you grip, the sentences you rehearse, the friends you bring, so you never have to speak. Those props let you leave thinking you got lucky instead of thinking you were wrong. Drop one prop each time. Name the feeling out loud. This is anxiety and it's allowed to be here. Beats, stop it. Labeling a feeling reliably takes off some of its heat. Acknowledging beats suppressing. Act on values, not on comfort. Do the thing because it matters, not because the fear has gone quiet. Waiting to feel ready is just avoidance wearing a patient face. And last, let relief be a warning light. That lovely wave of relief when you cancel, that's the exact moment the trap pays out. Feel it and get suspicious. Now for your homework. Pick one thing you've been avoiding and keep it small, cause we're not curing phobias in a comment section. Approach just 10% of it. Open the folder, draft the text without sending, book the call for a specific time, and before you do, write down exactly what you think will go wrong, because you're going to want the receipt. Then tell me in the comments what you approached, what you predicted, and what actually happened. I am very interested to read them all. So, the takeaway. The relief you get from running is the interest payment on a debt that keeps growing. You're not a coward and you're not broken. You're a creature wired to flee discomfort, doing exactly what the wiring says. But the monster shrinks the instant you stop feeding it and walk slowly toward it, 10% at a time. One honest note before I go. If what you're avoiding is a real trauma or a genuine anxiety disorder, don't go at it alone. Doing exposure wrong can backfire, and a good therapist is worth everything. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe for a new Penguin Psychology video. And if the hype button is up, go on, give it a hype. This professor believes in you. Now go lift the corner of the rug.